Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm back with a brand new speed build, this time doing another special collaboration. And today's collaboration is going to be with the wonderful Beresims. So around about a month ago now, we agreed to do a collaboration and we planned it for around about this time so that we could do some sort of Halloween inspired collaboration. So after a little bit of a chat, we decided we were going to go ahead and do some sort of haunted house, like probably your typical Halloween style build. So it was agreed that I was going to do the exterior and she was going to go ahead and do the interior. So after rather a manic week this week, I finally got round to sitting down and building this house, and I decided to go for kind of what I would say was very stereotypical Victorian inspired haunted house. So I decided to build this house over in Forgotten Hollow, and I have to say I think this is one of the first builds I've done in Forgotten Hollow since I did kind of a gothic inspired, I think it was a gothic inspired church build a very, very long time ago. It must be like a year ago now. So it's been a really long time since I've actually been active in this world as well. But yeah, I built it over on this 30 by 30 lot, and by the time I'd finished with it, it came in at just less than 69,000 simoleons. So there wasn't kind of a restricted budget with the build, and we could use as many packs as we like. So I literally just went for it. So before I talk any more about the build, let me tell you all about Beresims. So Beresims has been a YouTuber for just over a year, I think it is now. And over on her channel, you'll find lots and lots of different builds. Anything from kind of tiny base game homes all the way through to large suburban homes. Now, the thing I absolutely love about Beresims, and I've mentioned this before, is that when I watch other builders, I really, really love watching builders that have the ability to make lots of different builds in lots of different styles. I just think if you get somebody that can do different sorts of styles, that doesn't have just kind of one main theme running through the channel, it's just always really, really interesting to watch. And it kind of makes me as a viewer, really excited to see what they're going to come up with next. And honestly, Beresims is no exception. I've been actually following her over on Twitter, and that's how I came about her and her channel. And I saw some of the uploads and screenshots through Twitter and was really blown away with her creativity. She does all sorts of different kind of shapes and sizes, and she's very kind of experimental with her roofing style as well, which I really love. I'm a little bit boring when it comes to roofing. I mean, I can do roofing, but I don't really do kind of crazy shapes very often. But she comes up with some really wonderful and really beautiful builds as well that are very, very detailed. And I must say, I've got a little bit of a soft spot for people who do very detailed builds, because a little bit similar to me, I like to really get in there and make sure that every corner's full of something exciting, and her builds are just like that. So I am a massive, massive fan of her channel, and she's doing really, really well over on her channel at the moment as well. So I'm going to leave a link to Beresims' channel in the description box below, as well as a link to her half of the collaboration. It'd be great if you can go and check her out. She's actually incredibly close to hitting 10k as well, which is such a huge milestone. So it'd be awesome if you could go over there and check her out and show her some support. That would be amazing. So when coming to do this particular build, I knew that I wanted to build a Victorian house, but I wasn't entirely sure, what windows to use, what colour to do it. It was very experimental. I kind of played around with the shape quite a lot, and I decided that I wanted to use this sort of mansard roofing as well. And I added in a turret towards the back, but I really played around with this house, and I played around with the shape of it, and I changed up the colours and the windows quite a lot. Now, the funny thing about this build, and the funny thing about the collaboration on the whole, is that when I actually finished the build, I messaged Berry some screenshots and said, I'm finished, here's a picture of the build, what do you think? And she actually messaged me back a screenshot. Now, she'd also been working on a Victorian house, and her Victorian house, no word of a lie, was virtually the exact same shape, which just absolutely blew my mind, because I'd played around, as you can see, played around with this house quite a lot and wasn't entirely sure, what I was doing, and I was just sort of seeing what I could come up with, and to see that she'd built something which was virtually identical just really cracked me up. So I said to her, I messaged her back and said, that's just crazy. Do you want me to build something else? Because it's virtually the same. And she was like, no, it's fine. She was like, I'm doing the interior anyway. But honestly, you should check out her channel, and the latest build that she's just put up is this Victorian house, and it's quite uncanny how similar they are. So that was quite funny. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed making this build because I think it's really nice when you actually have a theme and a particular style that you're concentrating on. And especially when it's a style that you maybe haven't done for a while, in a theme you haven't done for a while. Now, obviously the other Halloween sort of inspired build I did was a witch's house, but it was a lot more charming and there were a lot more sort of earthy colours throughout that. Whereas this one I wanted to be much kind of darker and a bit more gothic. So it was nice to use lots of colours which I wouldn't ordinarily tend to use. And I also had quite a lot of fun with the landscaping as well, and I created a couple of little ponds which had the whole sort of red toned water throughout, and I really enjoyed it. It was quite a lot of fun. But as some of you may know, I have had an absolutely crazy week this week. It's been so incredibly busy at home. I've been undergoing some renovations in my house, and we've literally been painting the house from top to bottom in preparation for some new carpets that were being fitted. And I'm pleased to say that the carpets have all been fitted, the painting's done, the house is just about back together again, and my new bed's arrived, so I'm really happy with that. But it's just been such a long week and I'm absolutely exhausted. So I am glad to say that this kind of crazy week is over and done with, so I will be resuming back to doing plenty of builds over the next week, and I'm currently working on a 64 by 64 lot. So this is actually going to be the last collaboration I do for some time. There will be other collaborations coming up in the future. It's just that just for the time being I'm going to kind of wrap up this series and move on to some different projects that I'd like to get stuck into. Mainly one of them is the renovation series that I talked about quite a few builds ago. I'd like to get kind of stuck into that and get renovating some of your builds. And then obviously we're on the approach to Christmas, so we'll be looking at doing some kind of Christmas inspired builds as well. So I also just want to apologise as well if my microphone sounds a little bit off, because obviously I had to unplug my computer and I've lost some of my settings, so if it kind of sounds a bit too much, don't worry, I just need to tweak it, so I apologise for that. Plus I also need to apologise because lots of you have left lots of wonderful comments, and unfortunately this week I've just not had the time to kind of catch up with everybody. But hopefully over this next sort of at the beginning of next week I'll sit down, have a real good look through the comments and hopefully kind of respond back to you guys. I do always aim to sort of reply back to everybody because it does mean a lot to me, especially if you're taking the time out to comment. It's nice to kind of get some kind of response. So I apologise if I've not replied back to your comments this week. It's just been absolutely crazy. So if you do get a notification from me from a video which was like a week ago, then that's what it is. But I'm just working on the back garden at the moment, and as you can see I've kind of combined this huge big ugly tree stump with one of the other, I think it's like an alien type plant which I sized up, and I really quite like that combination together. I don't know where it came from, it just kind of happened. But I did actually build this house in the winter, and obviously in the winter a lot of the trees are bare, and I did go ahead and line the outside of the house with this hedge, and I thought it looked really nice. But the problem being with it is that when it changes to summer it was just going to look really odd, because obviously the hedge is quite a vibrant colour ordinarily. So I did go ahead later on and sort of remove that. So in one way it was nice because I got to use some different trees which looked really awesome because it was in winter. But on the other hand I was very conscious of the fact that in the summer it's just not going to look the same, if that makes sense. But I did go ahead and keep the outside of this house just very sort of plain. There's not really a lot going on with it. You know, there is a little bit of detail, but I didn't want to go over the top because this isn't kind of like your ordinary suburban build. I imagine this was probably quite a rundown kind of gothic house. I shouldn't imagine that anybody that lives here really even likes to see daylight. Well, that's what I was thinking in my mind anyway. So I did keep the outside very basic, and I didn't go mad on anything like skill building items or activities. It was just literally, you know, focusing on the whole theme of it being a sort of rundown Victorian house. Now, I do think in the long run, this house would actually make a really good house for a vampire. And I had a really good play around with the lighting in this house. And I used I think it was like the red colour fountain as well, which gave this really nice effect with the trees in the sort of lake bits around the side of the house. But I later went on to add lots of kind of wall candles and standing candles to the outside, and I changed the colour up as well to this kind of like dark red colour. So at night time this house lights up really well, and in actual fact I think I used that screenshot to do the thumbnail for this video. So this house looks really awesome at night time. So on the outside as well, I also used, I think it was like stone ruins from the Romantic Garden stuff pack, but it was just a case on the outside of the house of adding lots of cracks and cobwebs and just lots of detail to make it look just that slight bit run down. But I really can't wait to see what Berry does with the inside of this. It is actually 3 stories as well, so it'll be interesting to see what she comes up with on the inside, and I really can't wait to see what she does. So don't forget to check out Berry's half of the collaboration. I'll leave that in the description box below. But I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give me a big thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed, it would be a fantabby-dozy to have you on board. But I hope you're all having a fantastic weekend, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video, which hopefully should be at the start of next week. But take care guys, I'll see you next time. Bye.